Welcome back to my channel, Hanging with Kiki. Today I am back playing episode 8 of Our Life Beginnings and Always. I know I haven't really been recording much lately, but I'm excited to be back playing this game. Right now we are still in our childhood phase. My favorite part of this game is when we're an adult. So we're gonna make this journey together and get to my favorite part. Let's see, where did we leave off? Yes. So, the last time I tried recording this, I played Grown Up. Unfortunately, there were some technical difficulties, so I lost that footage, which is nothing new. We're just gonna pretend it didn't happen and move on to a long day. Long day, long day. I love the ambience of this game. It is truly cozy gaming. It was another scorching summer day, the kind where no sooner had you finished one cup of water, you were already filling it up again. I'm gonna pause the story right there. It is honestly so fucking hot where I live. It's not even 9 o'clock in the morning and I'm melting. I wish I could turn the AC on when I record, but I can't because it's so loud. I need a cup of water right now too. Alright, moving on. Everyone else had something on, so that afternoon it was just you and Shiloh. This didn't happen much, especially since COVID arrived. Without Lizzie around, Shiloh looked to you for all the answers. It made you feel pleased, frustrated, or nothing really. I'm gonna say pleased, right? Shiloh's her friend too, even if he sticks to her sister like glue. You might not be in double digits like your sister, but he was only 7. Being the oldest and getting to be the leader was a nice change of pace. You drained yet another drink and frowned at the empty vessel. Your thirst was gone, but you still craved something icy cold and refreshing. Something sweet, something like, I would want horchata. Let's see if that's an option. A popsicle, an ice cream cone, or an ice cream sandwich. Let's do an ice cream cone. Nothing beat a classic creamy scoop of ice cream on a day like this. There was nothing like that to be found at home. You knew that without needing to look. Your moms didn't keep sweets in the house. Outside, there were plenty of places where such goodies could be obtained, but they were shops and demanded payment in exchange for their products. You sighed. You voiced your predicament aloud. You asked Shiloh for help. Let's see if Shiloh has any money. Shiloh, do you have any money? I forgot what my voice is. I think it's just my normal voice for Paige. Oh, let me check. That was easy. You felt like you should tell him why you were asking. Thanks. I want an ice cream cone, but my moms don't keep any here. Shiloh rummaged in his backpack and proudly produced an assortment of coins, plus one stray button. You set the button aside and counted the coins in neat piles. Just over $1, you announced this to Shiloh. He had almost certainly come to the same conclusion, but he'd been watching you expectantly. It's not enough. It's a start. Let's be positive. Shiloh beamed at you. We'll need to find some more. Okay. The two of you lifted couch cushions, stuck tiny hands down deep crevices in the sofa and under furniture, and scoured the back of drawers. Most of what you found was useless or gross. Bent paper clips, fluffy wisps of dust, or sandy crumbs. But every so often, one of you would strike silver which had been a secret. Dusty and disheveled from checking every room and squinting into every tiny nook, the two of you finished pulling your vines. Shiloh held his breath as he counted the coins once again. $2.53 and 2 buttons. You didn't know when the second button had decided to join the party, but you were too pleased with your successful haul to throw it out. Is that enough? You figured he knew the answer, but you appreciated him recognizing your authority on financial and ice cream matters. You straightened up before making your pronouncement. Yeah, we've got enough. You could now afford something at the shops. Just one thing, but that was infinitely better than none. Shiloh clapped his hands. Yay! This is the beach music. The two of you dashed outside. The promise of sugar buoyed you on to your destination where, breathless but happy, you stared at the overwhelming number of options. You knew what you wanted, but it wasn't just you who had contributed to the funds to get the treat. He seemed to notice your pause. Aren't you getting an ice cream cone? Shiloh asked, as though he was entirely separate from the decision, rather than someone with a stake in the outcome. Do you mind? Shiloh cocked his head to the side. It was your idea. You should choose. You went ahead and got what you wanted originally. Are you really sure it's okay? You tried to get something you both wanted anyway. Let's get something that we both want. It wasn't fair for you to be the only one to decide when he'd been a main factor in making this happen. Some of the money came directly from his backpack. What do you like? All of them. They're so good. You pressed further. But what do you really like? Popsicles or ice creams? Which is your favorite? It's so hard to pick. I don't know. Frustrated, you cut to the heart of the matter. Tell me what you fucking want. You want me to choose? Yeah. And that was that. You got the dessert you wanted originally and hoped Shiloh would actually like it too. Finally, the reward for all your hard work was in your hands. You lapped at the soft ice cream. The sweetness perked you up. You held it out to Shiloh so he could take a turn. He shook his head.
You can finish it.
You can finish it. He didn't want any after everything he did to help get it. That was weird. But you accepted the offer. You tried to include Shiloh. You hesitated. Let's try and include him. Even if Shiloh said it was okay, every story you'd ever seen on TV or read in a book said that sharing was caring. You stood your ground, even as the treat started to trickle dangerously towards your fingers. It's only fair that you have some. We both bought it. But you want it more than I do, and getting to play was a lot of fun already, so you can have it. That's more fair. You held it out to him. I want you to have some, even more than I want to finish it, so eat your damn ice cream. Relenting, Shiloh took the treat and gave it a taste. His eyes lit up. It's really good, thank you. I love his voice acting, it's so cute. You smiled, pleased with your good deed. Good deed for the day. You picked the best one. Did he mean that? Shiloh was always nice no matter what happened, even if he hated it. You knew he wouldn't say so. Maybe he thought it was gross, and that's the real reason why he didn't want to take some. You had no idea. You studied him as he ate a little bit more. He had every appearance of enjoying himself. Still weird. The two of you began to head back home as he ate. Maybe he's secretly lactose intolerant and he doesn't want to tell you. You walked side by side on the shore in silence, but your thoughts kept drifting to the boy beside you. Why didn't he speak up for himself? It was almost as if Shiloh didn't know how to say what he felt, or he was too afraid to. You figured that was his problem and didn't care. Are you scared of me? You thought that was kind of sad. Are we friends? Let's say friends. Are we friends? Shiloh opened his eyes wide, seemingly caught off guard by the blunt question. Yeah, I think so. He says that, but friends should be able to talk to each other without being scared. If Shiloh wouldn't do that, were you even really friends at all? He rubbed his hands together nervously over your non-reaction. I'm sorry. You weren't sure how sorry he could be without knowing what he's even apologizing for. You shook your head. You didn't do anything. It was true. Shiloh hadn't done something mean. He'd gone out of his way to make you happy. That didn't seem like it should be a bad thing, yet it bothered you. I just don't know if you like me. It's like, it doesn't matter what I do, you're gonna act the same. I could be anybody and you wouldn't care. No, I like you. I really, really like you, Paige. I want to be friends. Okay. You smiled hesitantly at him and his fidgeting ceased. Even though you weren't sure if you believed him, this was only making things worse. You decided that maybe there were all types of friends. If Shiloh wasn't able to do things differently, this would have to be alright. Shiloh made you unsure about setting a label on the experience of spending the afternoon with just him. There had been good times and there had been confusing ones. You were positive of one thing at least. The treat was delicious, and that was nice. The sun was low on the horizon as you returned to your neighborhood. There you spotted two very familiar figures up ahead, Lizzie and your future husband. You opened your mouth to make your presence known to them just as you saw the tears on Kove's face. You walked straight over, Shiloh at your heels. I forgot that Kove is a big crybaby. Once there, you defended Kove, took a moment to make a joke, accused Lizzie of causing trouble, carefully asked about what happened. Let's make a joke. Maybe that'll make him smile. I thought we lived near a beach, not a waterfall. That is not a good joke. Paige, you can do better. Kove wiped his eyes with his cast, the tears straining the pink of vivid crimson. It wasn't the only thing changing color. Kove's cheeks were flushed, but he managed a faint smile at the sound of you. What made you cry? Paige, I got yelled at. He took a deep, steadying breath. Some grandparents got mad at me. Oh, sorry. Lizzie jerked her head in the direction of a nearby house. Your heart sunk. You knew exactly what had happened. Every year, the same mean old couple rented out that condo for the summer. You, Lizzie, and Shiloh knew to stay away from them, but Kove couldn't have. They're like that with everyone. Even your mom struggled to find anything nice to say about them, but the elderly pair particularly took offense to kids. It didn't matter if they were really nice like Kove. Yeah, Lizzie said. Oh, yeah, Lizzie said. Lizzie drew herself up at that. She looked pointedly in your direction. I was helping. That's cool. Is there anything I can do? No, I'm just gonna stay away. Or you could teach them a lesson. I can't remember the voices I did for these two. There was a devilish glint in her eyes. What? You should ding-dong ditch them. Go ring the doorbell and run. It'll be great because they're so slow. They'll never catch you. That's dumb. I don't want to go near them ever again.
We're just saying that because you're a chicken.
Lizzie, you bitch. Kove glared, but didn't take the bait. Lizzie turned to you. are you? She said, okay, she loves to stir the pot. You thought they deserved worse. You'd rather just avoid them. Yeah, cluck cluck cove. I'll do it. I say let's do it. Like, come on, we're kids. Let's have some fun. Really? You took a deep breath and nodded. Lizzie squealed with delight. We'll go hide. Run as you hit the bell. Good luck. Lizzie and Shiloh ran across the road to take shelter in the bushes. Even once they'd settled down, you could make out two child-sized shapes staring from between the leaves. You knew where to look for them, though, and so you told yourself that the grouchy old people wouldn't spot it. They're totally gonna spot us. Cove sighed, his gaze flicking to the house and then back at you. Don't let them catch you, okay? Be careful. It'll be okay. Cove glanced back before he'd even reached the other side and stumbled as his foot caught on the sidewalk. He straightened up and looked back to smile nervously at you before joining Lizzie and Shiloh in their hideaway. The weight of 3 pairs of eyes on your back was heavier than anything you'd carried before as you approached the door. You hesitated as you reached the doorbell, then... I'm gonna ring it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Let's do it. You slapped the buzzer and ran. Blood thumped against your eardrums with every step. Would you make it in time? Approaching the hiding spot, you knew that there wasn't time to go around the bushes as the others had done. You took a shortcut, leaping over them. Or to be more accurate, crashing into the tops of the bushes, and then falling over to the other side. Cove quietly hissed as you unwittingly collided into him, but by the way his arms were out, it seemed he had intentionally tried to cushion your landing. Thanks, Cove. Shh. Lizzie put a finger to her lips and nodded at the house. You disentangled your limbs from Cove's and spun around to see the old man framed in the doorway, peering back and forth suspiciously. You covered your mouth with your hands, but it wasn't enough to stifle your giggles. Maybe he spotted one of you, or maybe it was the leaves you displaced while jumping, but he locked eyes with the bush and stormed over in your direction. Shiloh gasped and looked at Lizzie. Run! Your sister did not hesitate to take her own advice, neither did Shiloh. You got up, but seeing Cove struggling to extract himself and stand up with just the one fully functional arm, gave him a hand. Getting to his feet. It wasn't your intention to run, still holding on to each other, but neither of you remembered to let go. The old man's hollers propelled you all from the street to the sanctity of the hill. Well, only once you were safe did you notice the stitch in your chest and the ache of your legs. You flopped down the blades of grass, tickling your face. Lizzie, who had taken the lead in the end, was already lazing on the ground. The 4 of you took a moment to catch your breath and enjoy the feeling of cool grass against your skin.
Cove.
Hey, Cove. Cove lifted his head. I told you there were mean grandparents around here. Cove rolled his eyes, then decided this wasn't dismissive enough and rolled his whole body away from your sister. Lizzie chose to ignore his response and started chatting to Shiloh, who eagerly joined in the conversation. In the back of your mind, you knew you'd be second fiddle again to Shiloh once Lizzie came around. It always went like that. And it was fine, you thought. You still felt a little sad after how much time you spent together today. And it was always annoying. I'm gonna say it's fine. I mean, she has her friend, you have your friend. Shiloh could prefer Lizzie as much as he wanted to. There were other things to attend to anyway. You wriggled closer to Cove. He had calmed down for the most part and was inspecting a flower. His fingers pinched the stem and tilted the white petals towards him. That's a poppy. Cove glanced at you in acknowledgement, then back to the flower. And the type of poppies on this hill have the name white linen poppy, Mom told me. He quirked a smile. That's funny. He ran a finger around the edge of the petals. It doesn't feel like cloth. You'd need a lot of them to make anything. options. It's mine too. I like roses. Buttercups are really great. My favorite is snapdragons. Hibiscuses are the best. Peonies are pretty. I love sunflowers, tulips, orchids. I can type my own answer. I like all flowers. I don't care about flowers. I only know what my mom tells me. I am going to tell him that they're my favorite too. You know, home is where the heart is. It's nostalgic. Let's do it. You saw Cove grin before he tucked his head down, suddenly shy. So adorable. That's nice. Oh my god. I got a picture. I feel like I didn't get this last time. You moved onto your back with a small smile and looked at the darkening sky. The blanket of clouds reminded you of a thick throw you curled under on cold, rainy days. You wondered if the clouds would be as soft. They lazily floated on by, splitting from each other, merging and morphing into new shapes. You saw a dolphin. You saw a car. You saw an alpaca. You saw a smiley face. You saw cloud shapes. I am going to say I saw an alpaca. You saw a fluffy alpaca in the sky. You nudged Cove and pointed to it. Can you see the alpaca? Cove joined you in gazing skywards.
Whoa.
It's more like a llama. Hey, he chuckled at your reaction. I don't see shit. All the sun's light faded from the sky, and the moon rose higher. Lizzie got to her feet, dusting strands of grass from her bare legs, and surveyed her surroundings. The ocean, visible from the crest of the hill, beckoned with every sweep of the tide. Let's go to the beach. There was no argument from the other two. Shiloh was still Shiloh, and Cove would never say no to going to the shore. He was a child of the sea. You are also a child of the sea. Objected to the plan, we're happy to do what others wanted. We're too tired to argue. Wanted to go there too. So you eagerly joined the others in descending the hill down to the water. You stepped on the sand for the second time that day, but it felt different at night. The beach was nearly quiet at this hour. Abandoned sandcastles and footsteps in the sand, too big to belong to any of you, were the only indication of how busy it had been only hours earlier. The four of you kicked shoes off and removed socks and walked along the water's edge. The waves tickled your feet. I wonder what would happen if you tried to take a bath in the ocean with shampoo and everything. That would be bad for the fish.
Jeez.
I didn't say anyone would do it. Jeez, you don't have to be serious about everything. You're the one who asked what would happen. That is what would happen. I'd hurt the fish. It hurt the fish. I like bubble baths at home. They're a lot of fun. Me too. Bubble baths are luxurious. You'd never heard Lizzie use that word before. Mommy loves to have bubbles in her bath. She'll turn the lights off and have candles. I'm gonna do that next time. Hey, when's your mom coming to pick you up anyway? Not for a while. She's busy. What about your dad? How come you never talk about him? Nobody does. Don't you know you're not supposed to ask something like that? Why would somebody want to talk about something they never talk about? You kept your eyes on the ground, watching your toes get swallowed by the waves. Even if Shiloh never seemed upset when this topic came up, it made you feel awkward just for having both of your moms. It's okay. I'm like Lizzie and Paige. I don't have a dad. But I don't have two moms. I just have one. She's really great. Oh, sorry. I only have one now too. My mom isn't here. She's back home. It's just my dad with me.
Sorry.
Oh, I never had a dad or anything, so I don't feel bad. It's really sad that your mom is gone. Cove nodded. You joked about Shiloh's mom getting together with Cove's dad. Even if they're all different, our parents are good in their own ways. I want to joke, but he looks so sad. I'm just gonna say good in their own ways. Yeah. Cove couldn't muster a response. You don't think he truly disagreed, though. The silence broke with a splash as Lizzie kicked in your direction. Cold water and sodden sand splattered against your legs. Lizzie giggled, foot still outstretched from the kick. Cove joined in, striking the incoming waves to make a splash of his own. Shiloh scurried out of Cove's spray zone with a grin. I'm gonna retaliate. You used your foot to smack the water pulling around you, sending an arc of sea foam flying back onto your sister. You laughed as she spluttered, some of the salty seawater having landed in her mouth. She spat it out. Yuck. Lizzie chased you, intent on revenge. You dashed up and down the coast, taking it in turns to be the predator and the prey, as well as joining forces to take down Shiloh or Cove. Alliances were silently forged and wordlessly broken. Everything was fair game in war. Shiloh's brief exclamation was drowned out by the biggest splash yet, caused by him falling face first onto the ground. That would have been bad enough without the wave that followed, cascading over his prone body. Shiloh sat up, shaking his head like a dog coming in from the rain, as you all hurried over to check on him. His hair was plastered to his head, and his soaked clothes clung. If there was any part of him that was still dry, you couldn't see it. That was crazy. Are you okay? Yeah, my foot got stuck and I fell over. Way to go, Shiloh, you dumbo. You offered him some help. I'll offer him help. Shiloh didn't take your outstretched hand. After a moment, you dropped it. Lizzie was too busy snickering to notice and held her hand out to Shiloh, too. He reached over and took it. Slowly, he started to pull himself from the ground. He really likes Lizzie, that's for sure. Then he slipped on the slick sand, dragging him and Lizzie down just in time for another wave to hit. The water rolled over them. Sorry. What were the odds of that happening twice in a row? You thought they must be low, but there's no way Shiloh would do something like that on purpose, then pretend it was an accident, especially not to Lizzie. Even if your relationship with Shiloh felt unclear, he did at least like her a lot. Lizzie was his favorite, right? Smiling boldly, Lizzie extracted herself from the ground and wiped a streak of sand from her cheek. She didn't intend to let this embarrass her. Shiloh got up again as well, this time without incident. He still looked like a drowned puppy, but that didn't stop Cove laughing at the two of them. With that, it was time to call it a day. The four of you made the journey back home, leaving a trail of wet footsteps and sand in your wake. Damp clothes may have weighed down some of the group, but your spirits were high. Your arms swung side to side as a cool breeze flowed past. Your moms were outside, chatting to Cove's dad. We're back! Your mom's faces fell as they took in the state you were all in, ranging from messy to soaked. No. Elizabeth, is that all you have to say for yourself? You brought half the beach back with you. They certainly did. What's Marigold gonna do when she comes to get Shiloh? Is that how you want him to be for the long drive home, cold and filthy? Lizzie's expression turned to sulky over the scolding. Being the oldest could be fun, but it also meant she was the first to get in trouble when something went wrong. Mr. Holden, on the other hand, chuckled as he ruffled Cove's matted hair. His voice, okay. You've been out making memories, bucko. I'm glad you had a good time with your friends. Cove used his slightly moist cast arm to push his dad off. Mr. Holden's eyes widened when he noticed even that had gotten wet. Now he was worried too. I think they could have found a less risky way to spend time and had just as much fun. That might be right. Kids, what can you do? Come on, Cove, let's go get you cleaned up and dried off. We wouldn't want that cast to have to be reset. Cove winced at that thought. Okay. That a boy. Mr. Holden casually bent down and plucked Cove up off the ground, ultimately holding Cove against his chest. Sand was already transferring from Cove onto him, but that didn't seem to bother Mr. Holden. Cove protested being carried, but only got a reassuring pat on the back for his trouble.
Take care.
Good night, Cove. Thank you for the talk, Cliff. Night, Maple family. Oh, wait. Night, Maple family. And Shiloh, too. Resigned to his fate, Cove twisted his body in his dad's arms in order to turn around and wave goodbye. Smiling, you returned a tiny wave of your own.
Fine.
Well, we'd better do what we can to fix you guys up, too. Come on, everybody inside. I want you to march straight to the downstairs bathroom.
Ugh.
Yes, Mom. Okay, Lizzie's mom. Don't worry about stopping to wipe your feet on the mat this time. That won't do much good tonight. Sitting on an old beach towel your mommy had found, you waited in the hall. Until you were less sandy, you weren't allowed to go to your room or walk around the house. But you did get to eat a sandwich for dinner there. It felt like an indoor picnic. It had been decided that Shadow would wash first and borrow some of your clothes. He was already finished and packed away in his mom's car. Miss Fields had come to collect him a little while ago. It was a bit of a funny experience seeing him without that hat on for once. Lizzie, being much more soaked than you, got to go in the tub next. It wasn't a bubble bath as she had hoped. This was a no fun allowed cleanup session. At least that's what she claimed. Not much longer and it would be your turn. When the bath was done, you'd have to go right to bed. After a day like this, though, you were glad there weren't going to be any further events. Drifting off to sleep sounded like a great idea. And that's the end of that chapter. Long day. Alright, we have 2 more memories to go, and I'm excited about it. What do you guys think of this game? Is this a game that you would play? And also, are there any decisions you would do differently? Thank you so much for watching and hanging out with me today. I will definitely be back soon to play some more of this game.